Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not, and welcome back to Martial Arts Month, where we are taking a look at kick. I'm too afraid to kick something. Kickboxer 2. I'm too afraid to kick the. Too afraid to kick the table. Kickboxer 2. My foot hurts now. So, Kickboxer 2 tells the story of David Sloan, the unmentioned third brother of Kurt and David Sloan. Oh, Kurt and Eric Sloan from the first film, played by Sasha Mitchell, as he is running the gym that his family owned, apparently. But after winning his first fight in forever and last fight, and if he had anything to say for, an old foe comes a looking for revenge. And David just might be able to get his own. So here we go, guys. Welcome. We're talking about Kickboxer 2. So, on one side of things, I can see how a movie like this, the decisions that they made with this movie could piss people off. And indeed, when I first read what this movie did, I was like, no, screw this. No. Which is why I didn't try searching out the sequels back when. But as you do, you get more and more curious. So I already knew pretty much everything about, what happened to Van Damme's character from the last film. I knew that mostly. Not everything in the plot wise, I just knew, I can see how people will say, oh, this is just like Alien 3. Yeah, but unlike Alien 3, there's actually a good movie attached to that. See, the Alien 3's crime is not so much that they killed off the characters we loved from the previous one, but that attached to that big, shocking twist is also a shitty movie. Whereas with this one, yes, there's that twist, but this is actually a decent martial arts film. It's a decent film. It's very well done. It's directed by Albert Pyun, who did Cyborg, which is also another good film, and he would do plenty others, And he does a good job here. This is very much, Now, on one hand, you can take a look at Sasha Mitchell here and think, well, why couldn't he just play Kurt Sloan, apart from the French accent? He could just be Kurt Sloan, but I don't know. Maybe people wouldn't buy it because he doesn't have an accent, and it would be a different portrayal as well. So I don't know. And yes, what I was afraid of did happen because I know Sasha as Cody from Step by Step. So that's all that came to me, is Cody is now a kickboxer. It's like if Cody could kick someone's ass. Oh wait, he did that, didn't he? Helping Dana Burger. Well, maybe it is Cody. Maybe Cody has a secret identity. Yeah, it takes a little bit. Like, they don't, unlike with Alien 3 though, they don't directly retcon it right away. You don't know some things. They do briefly mention in passing, no, his brothers died about a year ago, which this movie takes place a year, so according to Wikipedia, the movie takes place a year after the events of the first film, and that Kurt and Eric Sloan were killed shortly after the events of the first film. But they try to make it this big mystery who did it. If you put two and two together, it's obviously Tong Po. And then there's a point where you have Sangha, who's played by the great Kari Uyuki Tagawa. He comes in and he's telling this bodyguard guy that really doesn't do anything in this movie but watch Sloan all about what happened after the events of the first film. And it's revealed that Tong Po did kill Kurt Sloan and his brother Eric. And I'm like, well, then they reveal that, and they have this pretty good lookalike for Van Damme, although they have it raining, and his face is dirty, but it's pretty good lookalike. But they reveal that he killed him. They're like, well, no shit. Of course Tong Po killed him. That's the only thing that makes sense, right? But, unlike what you would think this movie would be, it's not. Where you think, oh, he finds out his brothers are dead and now he's going to go get revenge. No, that's at least from his mind. He's just trying to survive. He's trying to live his life. He's trying to run this gym, and he's trying to, pay rent. He has to take this fight with this other guy to pay that rent. And he does that, and then he says he's done fighting. And that's when shit goes downhill. Right? It goes downhill because that's when Sanga talks to Peter Boyle's character. Now, Peter Boyle is at first portrayed as a villain, but by the end of the film, he's just another victim. To quote Taz, just another victim. He's antagonistic. By the end of the film, you said that he was also conned into putting this on. I do like how they orchestrate this. We'll get to it, but it didn't click with me until something happened. Like, oh shit, it didn't click to me in my head until the very last second what was going on. But anyway, so timeline wise, this is a year after the first one. The first one took place in '89. This is 90 or 91, give or take a few months. So late 90, early 91, I'd say 90. I don't know. This came out like 93, I think, but it could be like 1990. So, yeah. So, Sanga has men dressed like ninjas go in and burn the gym. And then they proceed, when he tries to stop them, they proceed to kick his ass. And in doing so, they allow a child to die in the fire. But my question is, how did Sloan get out? He was the kid could move, but he got his ass kicked and shot in the leg, and he survives. But the kid doesn't. It's a kid, I guess. I don't know. And so he ends up in the hospital. And when he wakes up, you get this character Jack, who's a friend of his, and who you may know from Stargate. He was Kowalski in Stargate. I'm sure he's been in a lot of Roland Emmerich films, but I know him from that. He was the first Kowalski for the Kowalski in the show, which didn't really go a good way. But, yeah. So they said, we're going to send your brother's mentor. Yes, that's right. Good old Chow. Good old Zion Chow is now back, and he wants nothing to do with him. And he knows who he is. Keep in mind, it's only been a year. So unless they met at the funeral, maybe. He's like, I want to help you. He's like, oh, well, you didn't really help my brothers, now did you? Sorry, I'm gonna talk late. Well, help my brothers, now did you? Now, I the way he said, my brothers died, and I was like, why couldn't it just be one of them? Right? You could have made him Kurt, and Eric's the one that died. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. Both of them are dead, and they got on to that. Trust me. But he says, I want to help you walk again. And he's like, no, I don't want you to do anything. And so then he gets out of the hospital. By the way, he gets better accommodations than his brother Eric did. At least he wasn't just thrown on a stretcher outside. He's in the actual hospital, where he's, in a hospital bed instead of he's on crutches. And so I should mention, this is very important, he was training this student named Brian, whose little sister Jo, or Jeline, Joe, is sort of being mentored by him as well. And he has dinner at their house before everything went, before he decides to take the fight. And then now she shows up to try to help him out and say, hey, you should train with Cyan, and then Cyan shows up the next day, not taking no for an answer, and they agreed to help to train. And what I like about this next scene, they show where they're doing like yoga and training, getting his leg back, and it was like a montage. And what I like about it is that you can see that gradually people walking by or people that were just sitting around start to do it as well. It's kind of like it's like a training montage thing with. Sorry, I got itch in my leg. Yes, with my leg, my under my thigh. Don't be gross. Yeah, he gets him to walk again. Meanwhile, Sangha and Peter Boyle have lured Brian over to that gym. And he's been training a la Tommy Gunn from Rocky 5. And he's also been fighting in lots of fights. And they never say it outright, but I believe that just like Rocky 3, they were all fights. They also show that they're pumping with steroids, which doesn't really come back around again. It doesn't really do anything to it at all. But he becomes this big shot kickboxer, who ends up getting a shot for the title. And he shows up, talks to I want to call him Cody. Sloan. To David. Couldn't give his name. To David. Hey, to come to the fight, man. I know you don't like it, but come to the fight, because he doesn't like the guy. He thinks a crooked, that they're connected to drug cartels or something. He's like, hey, come on, bring my mom with you. When he said that, I went, oh, something's gonna happen. If his mom's got to be there, something's gonna happen. Joe's not there for some reason, but the mom is, and so is Cyan. So we get this fight, and this is where I'm talking about. I didn't see this coming until like the last second. I figured it out. So we're getting ready to fight. I'm like, where are we going with this? Because they mentioned tongue. So as Sangha is talking, and no, not Sangha from WWE, but Sangha is talking to the bodyguard guy, telling him to watch over there, make sure nothing happens to him. Which that also doesn't go anywhere. He's just seen watching him. It's just an excuse we can see the guy watching him the whole time. I don't know. But Tong Po wants revenge. After what Kurt Sloan did, he dishonored his family, so he wants to get back his own. There is a scene on the beach that I want to talk about too, because it's very important. It's where Cyan is talking to David, and they're talking about, he talks about, I was married once, Cyan, but she died long ago. She died. They never had any children, but they raised their niece. My Lee from the first film. And that's when Cody, I'm calling Cody again. That's when David says, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I'm like, did she die too? Well, not only that, we get confirmed that not only did she die, but Tong Po also killed her. How is this man not in jail? That is the most obvious killing spree. Like, this dude kicks your ass, and you kill, all of a sudden, him, his brother, and his girlfriend end up dead. Hello? Prison! Jail! Lock him up and throw away the goddamn key! But no. So, ready for the fight night, and just at the last second, guy goes up to the champ and says, "Hey, you're not gonna fight tonight. you're injured. You can't fight. You're injured. What are you talking about? You're not gonna fight. You're injured. You're out. You're out of here. And so, guy hands the ring announcer guy is like, hey, we can't do this. Just tell him to read the thing. Just read the thing. So the champ is unable to fight, and so Brian's opponent is from Thailand, which gets Zion to stand up, is Tong Po. Looking badass, as usual. There's one ponytail braid thingy. Excuse me. I'm burping out my lunch. I had hot dogs. They were good. I put cocktail sauce on the hot dogs and it was good. Got a little kick for you. I don't know what that was. Anyway, so, yeah. I don't know why I was going like this. Oh, what are you doing over there? Like an old person. Like your mom. What are you doing? No, I just took my underwear. So I had to itch. So yeah, it's Tong Po. And Tong Po not only kicks his ass, but ends up killing him. So David runs out and tries to tell him, hey, you need to stop this fight. You need to give up. You need to get out of here. That's the guy that killed my brothers. And the guy's like, no. Brian's like, no one can beat me. And I'm like, is that supposed to be the steroids making him delusional? Because the steroids, for me, don't go anywhere. I've never taken any steroids, so I don't know. I thought the steroids were going to cause him to roid rage and kill his opponent. Not that would do anything for Tong Po, but I was just saying, I don't know. I thought the steroids would be bigger play into it. No, he gets his ass kicked, and then at the hospital he dies. And so David agrees to fight Tong Po. In some fight in a gym or in a ring that's when no one else is around, it's just him, Zion, Jack, and Sangha, and now Peter Boyle is like, you used me. Yes. And here, for your services. That's a lot of money. Yes, they say sometimes money cannot buy people. Fortunately for me, you're not one of those people. And that's the last we see of Peter Boyle. There's no redemption, nothing. He's just there. So we get this fight behind closed doors. Just them. And this part does feel rushed. I feel like we're going at a steady pace. And then we get to that fight where, by the time we get to the Brian fight, it feels like this should be the big fight. There's 21 minutes left. And then that happens, and we got 10 minutes left for this fight between the two of them. The Rocky fights were more done and built out and everything, but this is very quick. I guess for a kickboxing fight, you don't need that much time, but yeah, and it starts out kind of back and forth, and then Tong Po gets an advantage, and then eventually David gets the advantage and wins. Boom. End of the film. Not end of the film. End of that segment. We get... So, I gotta talk about this. So, at the beginning of the film, I'm very good at picking out things that are going to come back in the movie later. So, at the beginning of the film, Joe brings a friend to her and says, hey, this guy needs to be taught. So, he blindfolds himself, and he goes, sometimes when you cannot see, even if you go up blind, you still have sense of something. So he puts it on, and he's able to block even blind. So at this point, his vision is blurry. At the end, I call it, I'm like, oh, so that's going to come back at the end. And it does. His vision gets blurred, and he's still able to beat Tong Po at the end. So, yeah. And so he does it again with this kid, and then they walk off. And then we get what is very on the nose, especially with Sasha Mitchell in the movie, is it looks like a sitcom credits. In fact, I muted it and sang step by step with the credits, and it works just fine. Step by step, day by day. It just, I don't know. They know what they were doing with it, and it's like a sitcom crash. You get everyone, hey, I thought this was good. I thought it was pretty good. It's not better than the first one. No. But as a sequel to the first one, they could have done worse. I think it works. And those of you who get hung up on the fact that they killed off Kurt Stallone, keep in mind, Van Damme has a history of not doing sequels. Look at his filmography. How many sequels has he done? 1. Okay, 3. But still, 3. Okay, 4. He's done 4 sequels in his entire career. Okay, he's done the 3 Universal Soldier sequels, and he's done Kickboxer Vengeance, Kickboxer Retaliation. Excuse me. That's it. 4 out of the other movies that he could have had sequels to. Time Cop 2? No. Jason Scott Lee. Cyborg 2 and 3? No. Other person. Even the first actual sequels to Universal Soldier was someone else. They're not canon now, but still. Van Damme is notorious in not doing sequels. It just, Universal Soldier must be a project he wants to keep going back to, I guess. And the Kickboxer must also be very close to him. I don't know. But, did it wrong. But yeah, I still think this is a pretty good movie. I think it works as a sequel. And this is not the first sequel to a Van Damme movie to not have Van Damme in it. We would have the Cyborg 2 and 3. We would have Time Cop 2, Bloodsport 2 and 3. It happens. So just don't get hung up. Don't get hung up over the fact that they killed off Van Damme at the beginning of this. And yes, you can sit there and you go, well, didn't they say it in the first one that it was just the 2 of them? Yeah, which is why I would have had it been more like, oh, they're your brothers, and he didn't know. Like, he's a bastard son or something. Like, their dad had an affair and no one knew about it. That could have worked, but whatever. I still liked it, so it's pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on Kickboxer 2? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.